What's happening, boys and girls? It's Friday, May 28th, 2021. You're tuned in THHoopers, Ronnie Brewer's favorite basketball podcast. I'm Jacob Lehman, your host. With me, I have Josh Rhodes.
Good morning.
And George Martin.
I am coming to you live from Houston, Texas.
Everyone's half hooper is there for a basketball tournament, which he will not be participating in, but he'll be cheering on his fellow Greek brethren. In the tank top, there's only article clothing.
Did you not make the cut?
I'm too old.
Or did you fail your physical?
They saw the new cut and they were like, yeah.
I look like Tyler Hero returning from South Beach.
Yeah, everyone who listens, go to YouTube, see George's new haircut. I'll get mine eventually. I'm sure it'll look worse, but George, you look good. You look good.
You look
Thanks.
good.
Thanks.
The forehead's out, the shoulders are out. It's gonna be a good episode because home court played a big factor in these last few days. A lot of the series went to Game 3, changed arenas. Ja scored 47 in the game against the Jazz. We'll get to that in Donovan Mitchell's return. But Ja kind of stole the show. And to end it off, we're going to give our biggest boom and bust players to playoffs so far. Remember, if you like what you hear, make sure to check us out on our socials at THHoopers, Instagram and Twitter. I want to give a quick maybe middle finger to NBA Ball is Life. Great post, bro. Check our recent post on clutch playoff moments. Follow for follow. Gave him a follow. No follow back. So he will get unfollowed.
Yes, sir.
He will get blocked.
And then Frankie, good old Frankie the Ace, commented last. I gotta shout him out. He commented, "When are you gonna let me on?" Frankie, I'm gonna say a word. Anytime in this podcast, if you comment at next post, you get on. It's that simple. I've tried this 8 times. You don't want to do it. You will get at least a 20-minute segment if you comment. Just come on. I know you don't listen, Frankie, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. All right, getting right into it though. Hawks beat the Knicks. No, that's not true. Knicks beat the Hawks 101-92 on Wednesday to even the series at 1-1. Hawks get the split they want, and the series heads to the A. Knicks outscored the Hawks 57-35 in the second half, mostly due to D-Rose saving the Knicks throughout the game, but very much in the clutch, finished with 26. Trae was the only one for the Hawks shooting well, finished with a 30, while Bogey, Hunter, and Gallo combined for 7 for 30 from 3. Not the field, from 3. I just want to get you guys' take on Trae embracing the villain of MSG. The Hawks get the L here, but Trae, they started some chants. Trae is balding, which it sounds like Trae is balling, so I don't know why they do that. And it feels even more no matter what they say to him. But I just want to get your opinion, George, on the series as a whole, and then mostly Trae being this villain guy.
I mean, this is kind of like the typical playoff basketball where the crowds are getting into it. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember if I've seen so much like cursing at Trae Young and all these unique chants. But I don't know if I'd like it because it gives him more fuel, and that's the last thing you want to do for Trae. And the last thing you want to do is give him like more motivation. I'm obviously not saying, for the arena to be quiet, but, he embraced it in game 1 and it got him a win. He embraced it here. They ultimately didn't get a win, but I mean, it's entertaining to say the least.
Josh, is there a way to stop this guy when it feels like hate just fuels him? Because what you're gonna chant, nice shot, Trae, when he hits one, trying to get his head that way, it won't work. And obviously you hate speeching him doesn't work either. So what kind of side would you play if you were there at MSG?
I would just hate because the rest of the team sucked. Who cares? I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, Trae Young had 30, which is great, but he's nothing like any of the other MSG villains that we've seen in the past. Like, he's like a complete tier below, so it's not like they really care. And also, they're hyped because this is like first time in 7 years that they've been in a competitive sense in the playoffs. I guess I'll transition away from that because I don't really want to. I don't unless George has something to add.
There's not much stat on that. Just want to.
Yeah. I actually am a fan of Tibbs' rotation this time because this time it didn't seem like everybody was out of place except Alfred Payton, obviously, but. He played Derrick Rose to the bone, and I guess Taj Gibson just plays in the clutch. I don't know. He was just there. I mean, he did what he had to do. He had a couple nice buckets. But
Noel was a game time decision, so he might have been hampered there. So maybe that was why Taj was finishing for him.
Well, this has been like a common thing, like for certain teams, like especially even in the regular season. Like sometimes he'll just pull Noel and he'll put Taj in there, and sometimes it works. I think it's just because they both know Tibbs' system from the years of torture in Chicago. But I think that this rotation worked because when they had a solid team going into second half, and when they went on a run, they brought the highlight guys in. That's when Obi got his 11 minutes, and they kept the energy going, and then they brought the guys back in to close out the game, which was more impressive than that first half rotation where it kind of seemed like everybody was out of place. And RJ Barrett played less minutes, but I kind of understand this game why, because it was a very passive game from him, and so Tibbs kind of had to take him out. So short leash there, but I still don't know how I stand on the confidence thing, because he is your second best player that you're supposed to build around. So
yeah, just more on the rotation thing. Elfrid Payton started the first half like he always does. Didn't play mid in the second half. They ran with Rose, I think, the entire time. Like you said, he ran to the bone. George, transition here to Atlanta. What did you see them do wrong? I can start you out here. They're just missing open shots. I know Knicks have a great defense. Hawks are getting some pretty good looks, and they were not cashing in on them.
John Collins smells, by the way.
John Collins, 0 points, 2 boards in 15 minutes playing small forward. Yuck.
It wasn't even just the shooting. Really subpar front court play here. Capella and Collins combined for 4 points. That's not going to get it done.
Capella 5 blocks, 12 boards, though. I don't want Capella slander.
Oh, it wasn't slander. I'm just saying, your front court only combining for 4 points isn't going to help you win a game. But moving on to the other offense, I felt like what the Knicks were doing defensively, they were kind of like blitzing Trae in the pick and roll, and kind of just, like you said, letting other guys get open shots.
Your favorite defensive scheme.
My favorite defensive strategy, of course. Hey, I mean, look, they're going to give them open shots, and as long as they're missing, they're going to keep allowing it.
Exactly.
And, going back home to Atlanta, I don't think you want to do that, because if they get hot in their home stadium, it's going to get ugly rather quick. But for now, yeah, I mean, if they're going to keep shooting poorly, you're going to keep letting them shoot it until they can prove it otherwise.
Yeah, going back down to the fortress, or as Trae Young calls it, the A. Reggie Bullock's ready. There was a lot of trash
Quavo
talk there.
Calls it the A, not Reggie, not Trae Young. Quavo.
Trae Young at the end of the game flexing the A. The A.
It's Quavo's thing, though. Like Josh is right.
I know, but Trae Young does it as well. Miko's connoisseur, George Martin over here, correcting
Culture
me.
2, baby.
I think we're gonna get. I'm sure they play this weekend, so I don't want to predict this. Who's going to get through? Them? We covered again in the preview. But to end
they
this
play on
off,
Friday.
Where is Julius gonna be able to bounce back here on the road? Because he has 2 shot below 40% in both game 1 and 2. They pulled out 1. So,
all right,
Josh,
I just want to say that, I mean, despite DeAndre Hunter having a Mickey Mouse 18 points because he had nine free throws, he plays amazing defense on Julius Randle. It is actually insane. At this point, I don't know why they have John Collins in the game. Like, if they just played DeAndre Hunter entirely on Julius Randle, they would be so much better set off. Like, Hunter is just like their number 1 defender at this point. And if they're able to squeak Reddish toward the end of the first round, it could definitely be a game changer. But I mean, I definitely think if the Knicks are to steal one of them in Atlanta, because Atlanta's no slouch in the crowd, they're probably equally as bad.
But how many Knicks fans will be there? Because I could see it 50-50.
Yeah, but they're not going to get allowed in the building. Atlanta's got shooters. They are surrounding the arena. Atlanta fans only, and I think that Julius Randle needs to have a bounce back game. I'm going to say he needs to shoot over 50% in at least one of these games for them to have an opportunity to take the game.
Word, George. Final thoughts on. Is Randall going to bounce back? Are these Hawks role players going to bounce back? Because like you said, they're blitzing Trae, and I'm with blitzing Trae because he's 6'1", not 6'8", like Luka. You can't see over the defense, really.
Yeah.
Then the whole Nate Robinson joke. But who do you see bouncing back more, the Hawks role players or RJ Barrett / Julius Randle?
I'm going to go with the Knicks duo. I know McMillan's defense is kind of making an emphasis to stop Randle, but I think he's going to power through it. And I'm not going to say that the Hawks shooters don't completely bounce back, but, I expect Bogey to bounce back the most likely, but guys like Gallo, I'm not sure about. Collins has been rough all series. I think that's a testament to Randall's defense, but yeah, that's where I stand on those two.
Role players play better at home. It's just a fact. We'll see Tony Snell drop 15 next game. Moving on, Lakers beat the Suns 109-95 to cleanse Georgia's sanity, and then no one 2 in a row. This one at Staples Tuesday night, take a 2-1 series lead. AD followed up 34 with another 34-point game. Lakers dominate the paint. It doesn't take a statue to show they dominated the paint in this one. Game got out of hand a little bit in the third, but Suns battled back to make the Lakers sweat a little bit thanks to campaign. You can't hate campaign. You simply can't. You can hate him if you're a biased fan, but can't.
Costa loves campaign.
I love campaign. Russell Westbrook dance partner.
You love campaign.
You just love the guys that do way too less for all the swagger they have. That's it.
So just a little injury watch here. CP looked good in the first half, but I have a feeling he's on a secret minutes restriction. Didn't play a whole lot in the second half. And then 80, KCP, Schroeder, all seen limping this game. KCP left the game, but should be all fine. George's having a side conversation.
He's comparing that campaign in the regular season plays like what was it? Plays like Harden in the playoffs, and then in the playoffs he plays like Harden in the regular season. I don't even know what that means.
They're both
no, but
the Suns commentators call campaign CP 3x5. It's one of the best nicknames out there, honestly. It's number 15.
Okay. The Suns announcers call him CP 3x5.
Getting back on here though, both defenses shined here. Any takeaways from this, George? And as a Laker fan, I don't know if you even caught this one. You're bumping in Texas right now.
I caught most of it. Really poor shooting from both sides, especially in the first half. I mean, it was 43-40 at halftime, and Lakers had 20 turnovers too. So you see those two stats, and you see they won rather comfortably. I know it was kind of close at the end. You're like, how did they win? Simple. It was their defense, which has been basically number one all year. They really made life rough. I think on Book, or did he shoot? Yeah, 6 for 19 again, making life rather hellish on him. I mean, Ayton was money inside the paint again, but as Costa says, he kind of gets a lot fed inside to him. Pretty easy for him to finish.
So I don't mind just Mickey Mouse, DeAndre Ayton's playing fantastic.
I'm just simply the messenger here. But
he's the best player this series.
But yeah, the defense really came through, made life hell on the guards outside of campaign. So yeah, that's kind of how they got the W here.
Speaking on turnovers, LeBron very sloppy. I don't know if he's just screwing around. I think he was screwing around, but I mean he's saying
he's in the postgame. He's like, yeah, I'm still trying to get there, and it's probably like half of a cover for all his turnovers. I know.
He's still behind the back passes with miscommunication. There's no trying to get. You gotta love LeBron. He's lining up these excuses in case Phoenix pulls off something crazy. But Josh, just want to get your thoughts here. Ayton, though, 22 and 11, played 41 minutes, didn't look like he broke a sweat. This dude's in great shape for a young big man. And when he's not out there, AD goes to work. They try to play Frank Kaminsky. You can't play Frank Kaminsky against this Lakers team. Even Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond will go to work on him. So, I just want to get your thoughts here.
Like you said, literally every minute that Ayton wasn't on the court was a Frank Kaminsky minute, and I think the Lakers were absolutely filthy in that. DeAndre Ayton might look like Greg Oden, but he sure doesn't have the endurance and the durability of Greg Oden. I kind of like what they're doing with Schroeder. I kind of just like the consistent minutes that he's getting, because I know Anthony Davis is the X factor for this series, and it just kind of, we hope everybody else. But Schroeder's been playing rather well when he doesn't have to do like the hero ball, and they kind of switched the rotation. They took him out in the first quarter actually, and that's something they haven't done all series. And then they kind of just switch it around so that LeBron and AD kind of play more together, and Schroeder kind of rolls with the second unit, which I think works a little bit better for him. But yeah, no, the Lakers, like George said, Lakers defense was the big reason they got it done.
I want to talk to both of you on this. How far can this Lakers defense get them without reliable jump shooters like KCP hitting their shots? Kuzma going, I think, 1 for 11 here. Kuzma he hustles now. This year has been great for Kuzma's defense, his hustle and his rebounding and stuff. But how far can just aiding LeBron and Schroeder doing everything and then the defense get them? I'll start with I haven't heard George in a while.
I think it could get them to the finals, honestly. I mean, that might be a little bit outlandish. Next round, they would play either, a hobbled Denver or Portland, who doesn't really have the offensive firepower if the defense is stopping them. And they also don't have the defense, so it would be a pretty easy matchup. And then you look Jazz or
oh, he's giving
Dallas?
The rundown of every team, actually. That's good. That's awesome.
I'd say to the finals, but they can't beat Brooklyn with the offense struggling as bad as it's been, even if the defense is clicking as good as it's been.
Josh.
So thankfully, George went through all the Western Conference teams.
I stopped myself. I'm sorry.
No, we stopped you actually, but
Let him
I
live.
think
Let him live.
I know. I think there's only like 3 teams that the Lakers can't beat if they don't have offense, and 2 of them are in the Eastern Conference. So I think that I agree with George.
What's the one in the West? What's the one in the West? Is it the Nuggets?
No, it's Dallas.
It's sheesh. All right. Quick stuff. Any thoughts on Phoenix? Obviously, I don't think any of us think the series is over. I thought it was for a second there. It looked like the Suns were demoralized. That's when the series is over. But then they fought back.
No, I do think this series is over because Devin Booker got ejected, and Chris Paul is the only guy that can take him out of this hole, and he just doesn't. If he doesn't play like over 30 minutes, they can't win another game. That's just how it's going to be.
I mean, the Suns are going to fight. The Suns are going to fight. I'm not going to say it's necessarily over.
Oh, they'll fight, but they're not going to win. That's the thing we're talking about.
Well, I would say over as far as this isn't going any further, no way in hell, than 6.
6 is like the max.
I would say 6 is the max. Yeah,
they might have a chance to win Game 5 because Phoenix
at home.
Maybe Chris Paul gets
that
one
Phoenix crowd
belt.
Might start saying some things. It might look like the MSG at Phoenix Arena.
But there's no way it goes 7 at this point. I don't think not with the way Chris Paul's been playing.
I'd be surprised. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the Nuggets and Blazers game. Nuggets take Game 3 in Portland, 120-115. To take a 2-1 series lead. They're now on 2 in a row. 2K cheese machine Austin Rivers started hitting. Fool was hitting down the stretch. 4 threes in the last 5 minutes. They were doubling Jokic, and he was doing his best Jamal Murray impression. He was yapping the whole time. Who doesn't love Austin Rivers? He's fun to watch. He's out of the league for about two and a half months. Now he's playing basketball. Dame 37, Jokic 36 and 11. Denver kind of rode that 39-point first quarter to a win. I'm just gonna share his thoughts here. I'll start with Josh. I mean, what they couldn't win in Portland. So what's next for the Blazers here?
Okay, so I always look at the box score before I watch highlights or like condensed game, whatever I choose to watch or whatever I have time to watch. And if you look at the box score, like I looked at Portland, I was like, well, Dame had 37. Everybody in the starting lineup had over 10, except Robert Covington, but he has an excuse. Nurkic double-double. And they got bent. They got Carmelo Anthony off the bench, who played really well. And then I look at Denver and I'm like, well, only Nikola Jokic and Austin Rivers had like a little thing, but it doesn't look like Michael Porter Jr. looks a little low and the bench looks low. And then you watch the highlights and it's like, well, Denver just took advantage of all the spots where Portland wasn't absolutely firing on all cylinders, which is unfortunate because the Blazers really had an opportunity to just pull into the driver's seat. They stole Game 1. And it was just one of those catch-up games. Like Portland led all the first quarter, and then Denver stole it, and they went up 10 going into the second, and then they just maintained the lead. Whether it be Austin Rivers, whether it be the Nikola Jokic heroics, whether it just be just good defense on other players not named Damian Lillard, they just managed to get it done. They stopped kind of everybody, despite the points being really high. I think the only 2 players that shot decent were Powell and Lillard. The Nuggets did every single little thing that they had to do just to squeeze this game away. And I know you guys talked about the final play, so I'm assuming George is going to take that final play. So go ahead.
I'll cover the final play. It was free throw. They were up. The Nuggets are up 3. Monte Morris gets fouled with, I believe, 3 seconds left. And Monte Morris misses the first, misses the second. Jokic gets the board, puts up the layup, misses, puts up a second layup, hits it. Whoa, that was loud. And then it's a 5-point ball game. George, I want to play a game called the Blame Game. There's a few things on the Blazers you could kind of point to and say this is why they lost. There's the lack of bench points besides Carmelo 17. 2 points for Anthony Simons and the rest donuts. And then there's the Dame taking 16 threes, only making 5 of them. I believe 2 of them were within the last 5 minutes, so he kind of helped them dig that hole. And then there's the defense, allowing all these other players besides Jokic to get going, most notably Austin Rivers doubling Jokic and just giving Rivers all those threes. So where do you kind of point to?
Is there any way you could get like more light? Because you look so hidden.
Ominous. What are you doing?
Is that better? Can you see me now?
Yeah, but why was that so loud, man?
I just moved it across the bed. Anyways,
A sandpaper bed?
no.
Good
Portland's
old
defense
Texas
has
sandpaper.
always been choppy, so I'm really not going to blame it there. I'm going to go, 3-point shooting. I mean, Dame and CJ were combined 8 for 26 from 3. That's obviously
Good
not going
math.
to get it done.
Good math.
Thank you. I try my best. Portland shot
Wait, throw
53.
Norman Powell in there. 10 of 32, 10 of 32, 10 of 32. Keep going.
Nuggets shot 53% from 3. Obviously, they were getting a lot of what they wanted there. And this whole series, I think I stated this from the beginning, or maybe Lehman did, kind of just first to 120, and they got it here on the dot. But it's all offense in this series. Whoever shoots better, whoever can score more. I know that's kind of stupid for me to say, but in this series, that's how it is.
Yeah, I agree there. I think, Portland's not going to D up, and Denver doesn't have interest in D'ing up. They got Monte Morris back this game. He's key for them on both sides. Josh?
Can I just say that this wouldn't be an issue if the Nuggets didn't shoot 52% from the three-point line? Like, they barely won this game, and they shot over 50% from 3, whether that be from good shots, whether that be from Austin Rivers making the most threes I've seen him make in half a decade. Like, we can't, completely harp on the Blazers because, it is all offense. But at the same time, we've talked about how limited the Nuggets are offensively. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say Mickey Mouse game, but, it's very hard for me to think that the Nuggets are going to shoot over 50% from 3-point.
Well, couldn't you attribute them being limited offensively to Portland's bad defense?
I mean, Nuggets are limited offensively because no Jamal Murray, no Will Barton. They have one play. They have 2 playmakers.
So how the hell are they shooting 50%?
So what I'm saying is,
oh no,
Portland's poor defense.
They don't have any defense in Portland.
Rocco is standing there who is guarding here?
Rocco did pretty well, Michael Porter Jr. He's doing a decent job. Although, guy shoots everything. Nurk's doing absolutely nothing. They even try to throw Cantor in there for 5 minutes.
And I will say, big mistake by Terry Stotts. Did not have he had Rocco playing center there, and on that very last free throw possession, which allowed Nurkic to get that board.
Did they have a timeout? Do you know?
They did. They did have a time. They did not have a timeout.
Yeah, so they did not. Well, they might have been afraid of Nurk getting the ball and then getting fouled, and that would have been oof.
Well, if anyone gets fouled anyways, the game's over. So, I mean, if Nuggets going to foul, it's just you chalk it up. That's ball game. You got to get that board.
To be fair, Rocco does have a reputation. I remember in the bubble when Harden missed that free throw and he snuck a tip pass in. So, I mean, he does have the rep for being able to be sneaky. But again, I would agree that
reputation 7'1".
You just have to get a center in there.
Gonna win, yeah.
Rocco's 6'10".
George, anything else to add here?
Nope.
Josh, so he scored over 35, I think, every single game. Is that the key to the Blazers winning? He keep Jokic low points? Because he only had 5 assists here only, I say, as a center. But is that kind of the key there, or is it just stopping them from the three-point line? What's bigger?
For Portland, I think it's the perimeter shots because Jokic is going to get what he wants no matter who he's guarding. And it's just one of those Jokic, Luka situations where it's you just have to live with what they get. You can try your best doing whatever type of defensive, but they cannot be led in this 3-point percentage, especially from a team that lost their top 3 offensive player earlier in the year. They just can't be giving up 52% from the 3-point line.
I agree with that.
Anything else, George?
No, I agree with what Josh said.
Portland? Oh wait, we'll get to the previews later.
We'll get to the previews. Oh, he's getting ahead of himself.
I was ahead of myself.
He's trying to out-host the host.
Well, the host's going to move to the 1-8 matchup now. We got a series. It's 1-1. Jazz beat the Grizzlies 141-129 on Monday. Donovan Mitchell had 25 minutes return while playing 25 minutes. Might have been a minutes restriction there. Might have been because it's a blowout. Who really knows? Jazz make 19 threes compared to Memphis' 8. We always say Jazz makes their threes. Ball game. Ja had a Memphis franchise high, 47 in the L. Rudy Gobert, show-wise depoy, 21-13, 4 blocks while keeping Valanciunas out of the game.
And he demolished Ja Morant in the
They need to stop saying Ja Morant almost dunked on Rudy Gobert. He was nowhere close. That was a stupid decision. Love Ja, but sheesh. I'll start here. Rudy Gobert, they can't put anyone on him besides Valanciunas, or else he becomes an offensive player. And if Rudy Gobert's an offensive player, you are in trouble. You simply are. They put Jaren Jackson Jr. on him. He's a big guy, not big as Valanciunas. Rudy Gobert, he was getting lobs. Rudy Gobert should not have 21 points. It's simple as that. As this series heads to Memphis, was this game enough to show that Game 1 was a fluke for the Grizzlies? I'll start with Josh.
No. Like you said, if the Jazz shoot their threes, they'll make ball game. But the Grizzlies, I think they need to get more confident in their 3-point shooting, because that's how they're going to win the series, unless they can figure out a way to stop Utah's 3. Like that's the big outlier in this. And I remember the Grizzlies have always been this team where they'll beat you defensively and then they'll get the nitty gritty points. They'll have a score first guard, Mike Conley, John Morant, some sort of breed of point guard like that, and then they'll beat you. But they don't have the same type of personalities like Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol versus Jonas Valanciunas and Jaren Jackson Jr. There's a clear-cut difference in who's going to be more.
They have a Tony Allen, though. They have a Tony Allen. So
they do have a Tony
this
Allen.
Time he shoots threes.
Yeah, he shoots really well, actually. But I think it's really difficult because it's a 1-8 matchup. But I still think that the Grizzlies are in this. They really just got to take advantage of that home court, which I'm sure they will, because I don't think Memphis, Tennessee has had any COVID restrictions since it started. So there will be a lot of JJ Butters in that crowd, and I think
in the play-in game that I think it was FedEx Arena, bumping. And Josh sent out a tweet. Thanks, Memphis faithful. It was bumping.
Yeah.
George, I got a cue for you.
What is
True or false? The Grizzlies have the better backcourt in this series.
Okay, so
come on, man.
Brooks is the 2, and no, it's Utah.
What?
Okay. Tend to explain or to argue with Josh?
Well, I would have to say that Mitchell is probably the best player out of the 4, and then Conley had an all-star season. Debatable, but I would take Conley over Brooks. I know Brooks is a good two-way guy, but I trust Conley more in a playoff setting. He's an experienced vet.
Who let a player in his second playoff game ever score 47 and
second and a half. Ja was in the play-in game, so it's I don't know what that counts for.
He also sets up he sets up the offense well, though. He had 15 assists in this game specifically. Mitchell's a volume scorer.
George, I don't think you're comprehending that. His second playoff game that's recorded ever.
Well, I do have a problem with the Jazz defense. I know Lehman and I were talking about this because they just kept letting them back in the game. Lehman, are you worried about the defense, or is this more of they're going to have to get better with it continuity-wise because Spider just came back? Because I know we were talking about this.
I was joking around it's Mickey Mouse defense. It's not. But I think they let their guard down. I think they were young team Grizzlies. They already got the split. They're down by 18 at halftime. They're going to roll over. And here comes John Dylan Brooks looking goofy as hell. Layup, three-pointer, dunk.
The picture of them, the post.
So it was an effort thing.
Yeah, because as soon as Grizzlies got that shot of adrenaline, and they almost took the lead with that DeAnthony Melton 3. I think he's the Crespo boy, so shout out Costa. But yeah, DeAnthony Melton misses the 3. They're still down 2. And then here comes Joe Ingles, 3, Bojan, 3. And the Jazz just rode it from there, and the Grizzlies were at double digits the whole time. So I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I think it's actually good that the Jazz kind of have this opponent that's never going to say die to kind of get them ready for the second round, which is going to be the Dallas Mavericks probably. Another, an actually offensively charged team. Because Grizzlies shouldn't have scored 129. This is kind of going to be a grit and grind series, and they let the Jazz score 141, and the Grizzlies score 129. So this game was a lot of offense, not a lot of D.
Pause.
Oh, he played host duties, asked me a question, didn't tell me anything. So Josh, anything else to add here?
No, I guess I'll just wrap it up. I disagree with George if it wasn't obvious already. I do think that it can be interchangeable, but the dependence is on Donovan Mitchell because John Morant is only going to go up, Dylan Brooks is only going to go up, and I kind of know what I'm going to get with Mike Conley. 20 and 15 is phenomenal, but it's no 47-7 or 23 and shut down defender. Donovan Mitchell went 8 of 19 today, and Dylan Brooks main defender. I have to see that Mitchell magic. I have to see that same swagger he's been having in first round playoffs, whether it be against Oklahoma, whether it be against another opponent. I don't even need to see Bubble Mitchell. I just need to see Donovan Mitchell kind of go back to his old self. And before I'm confident in switching over, but I think Memphis, as of right now, has the better backcourt, and they should take advantage of that fully.
Well, to bring it home here, I think the best thing Mitchell did was get Dillon Brooks in foul trouble, and you saw him. He explicitly said, like during the game, like he said, "I'm on that ass." Like it was something he was actually trying to do, is get Dillon Brooks foul trouble, because Dillon Brooks fouls every single play. You just got to make it look like he actually fouls you. The dude's crazy. So I think they made it because Dillon Brooks isn't just we foul him out, then he won't be guarding us. He's also green from three, so it helps. It's both ways. So that was the best thing Mitchell did, and then also. The crowd was just a lot more into it, having the leader back. Donovan Mitchell, even if he had 0 points, the crowd loves Mitchell. So,
yeah.
Anything else to add here, boys? Moving on then. All right, Josh. Yeah, the Heat are down 0-3. Bucks beat the Heat 113-84. Another blowout.
Imagine me doing a sweep.
Yeah, on Thursday. Milwaukee won all 4 quarters. Looked to close it out over the weekend in Miami. Will Smith. Everything looked too easy for the Bucks. Also held the Heat to 37% shooting. One thing I noticed right away, Coach Spo subbed Dragic in the starting lineup to try and capture that bubble magic, and Dragic went 3 for 14. So I think he's throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. Nothing's sticking. Jimmy and Bam came out aggressive but not good, as they both have inefficient games. I don't know what to tell you, Josh. The Bucks, it's a different team. It's a different team. Is this a sweep, Josh? Were you wrong? Can you admit you're wrong now? Is it a sweep? Hello?
Well, I'm wrong in my prediction. I still have faith that they'll steal one. I have faith that they'll get a gentleman's sweep.
Lehman was right all along. Bucks
it's not looking like it, unfortunately. Actually, Jimmy Butler gave me one good playoff Jimmy Butler half. He had 16 going to the second half, 3 points in the second half. Horrible. And this was a complete opposite. I said this team rolls with Jimmy Butler. This team actually got left back in Milwaukee. It was unfortunate. The only player playing in the first half was Jimmy Butler, and in the second half, everybody stopped playing. It was a crazy concept, but you guys hit it right on the nose with this isn't a Giannis series, but I was worried that he was going to try to make it a Giannis series, not doing that. 17-17 is insane, but for a guy like Giannis, you would expect more shots. He's just letting the role players go to work. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, both great games. The bench is showing out. They're shooting 3 well. They're stopping every part of the Miami defense or Miami offense, despite what George says about Brook Lopez. They're just fine. They game planned perfectly for the Heat. They probably spent the whole year watching film on why they lost, and they are capitalizing right now, and it's clearly showing.
George, were you going to give Brook Lopez an apology? I want one.
I actually was. I'm going to go back on my word. He's been absolutely incredible all series. I was just a little bit of an overreaction. I know I'm front running here, typical George.
Well, no,
they should play Brook Lopez 0 minutes.
I've hated Andre Drummond. He's playing fine in this series against the Suns, and I'm watching him closely. And that's because they're only playing him like 14 minutes. Don't play him more than 14 minutes, and I won't have beef with Drummond.
I think with Miami just not being able to get anything the first game or two, they're trying to get a lot more inside, and nothing is going. Bam's trying to post up Brook. He's not taking like the midi jumpers that he was in the bubble. It's almost like mental regression because they kind of out tough the. That's probably not the right word to use, but they were.
I think it's right.
They were out toughing. They were just the more tough team in the bubble, and they did lose Jay. They did lose Derek Jones. They lost some of these guys, and they have PJ and Portis, and they just have these tougher guys. I think that mental edge that Miami had, I don't know if it's there anymore. That could be it. I want to hear your thoughts, Lehman.
Well, yeah, trying to replace Jay Crowder, who we see how much he's muddling up the game of basketball and hitting threes for the Suns right now, with Trevor Ariza, who's on his, I think, 18th team in 5 years, everywhere. And I think he's 46. So, I mean, it's just not going to work.
Plays like it.
I mean,
Do you think Jimmy Butler's still selling coffee?
I think if he's selling coffee, he better do it now because these guys need to wake up. They are sleepwalking through everything. I was watching. I was like, I want Bam to come out aggressive. He came out aggressive. Took the first 3 of the first 5 shots for the Heat. Ends with only 14 shots, and he has 50. I mean, 50%, not 50 points. But I mean, the Bucks just have even guys like crazy as Bobby Portis, friend of the show, Bryn Forbes. These guys double digits off the bench. I mean, and then I'm glad Josh hit it on the head. It's not a Giannis series, and he's not trying to make it one. 17 boards, 17 points. He's the best big man in this series, and he plays power forward. You don't want to think of him as a big man. Then Brooke Lopez, he's throwing it back to he's posting up wherever they put on him because he's just too damn big.
The New Jersey Nets, Brooke
Lopez. The one-time All-Star Brooke Lopez, he's throwing it back to that. The one traded for D'Angelo Russell, he's throwing it back to that. So I mean, yeah, just Drew Holiday, 19 and 12. This is the Bucks I wanted to see if I was gonna have them beating the Nets, and I'm very confident this can happen. I hope Miami steals the game right now because then I'd have a perfect prediction, Bucks in 5. But if I was a betting man, I would have the Bucks winning next game. I'd have it a sweep.
I have to say, this is a perfect storm for someone who has the Bucks over the Nets because this is by far going to be their toughest defensive opponent, in my opinion. I mean, Philly's up there, but I'm saying for like the first round matchup that could have been possible, and and Jeff Green did just get hurt, so that's one less defensive piece they're going to be able to throw at Milwaukee. So we'll see.
Right, we're going to Philly now because they you segued it. They are a better defensive team than the Heat because they have a lot of guys. They beat the Wizards 120-95 on.
I have to do another apology
on Wednesday.
Yeah,
to get 2-0 series lead. Mm-hmm. Game never felt close. Series heads to Washington. Restless game with an injury. We'll get to that later. Sixers have. What?
Go ahead. Finish.
You want to get to the popcorn already?
No. We don't have to get to that just yet.
Well, I want to get to the Sixers defense. 11 steals, 14 blocks, win the three-point battle, 43% to 9%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Matisse Thybulle, 4 steals, 5 blocks, less than 20 minutes. Probably be the best defender on the Heat.
Yeah, Mr. Alex Caruso, second.
That's my next apology.
Who wants to start?
He had more. If the Washington Wizards played this game twice, Matisse Thybulle would have more blocks than their whole team. If the Washington Wizards played this game twice, the entire team, Thybulle would still have more blocks than them. You know how crazy that is?
It's a tapping. Stop tapping, George.
Seriously tapping. I'm going to start. I'm going to take this one because this is the one I was most excited to talk about. It fits perfectly. There's a sequence. There's a literally perfect sequence that fits this. So Russell Westbrook makes his last shot of the game in the second quarter off a putback dunk. He does the smug, and everybody makes fun, and he does a chin up too. They're behind. Ben Simmons immediately runs down the court, hits Bradley Beal with a Euro, and dunks right over Russell Westbrook and yells right in his ear. Perfect. That's the perfect sequence right there. The Wizards are making this they're focusing so much on the series, and Philly literally looks like they're playing for the next round. Like they're just going out there getting things done. Russell Westbrook, another Mickey Mouse game. It's always an excellent time when everybody overhypes him, and then he continues to not be good. I'm convinced
Josh was the fan to pour popcorn on him.
I might be. I'll wrap that up. My point with that, but Bradley Beal was the only one producing offense for the Wizards. Like you said, Philly's defense phenomenal. Even in they were at the fourth quarter. I don't think I saw a lick of Embiid or Tobias Harris or Ben Simmons. Tyrese Maxey was outscoring the Washington Wizards. It was a sad.
Davis Bertans, no stats. I hate this dude.
Worst contract.
80
fouls.
But I do want to say as much as, and I know we saw this again too. We've seen this in the Utah game. We saw this in the New York game. This is probably the worst of the 3 incidents that happened with the fans. Like I get it. Like it's exciting. It's fun. You want to yell. And I think the Sixers announcer hit it on the nose. We want you to yell and boo. It's encouraged, but nothing like that. Like that's ridiculous. It sucks that Russ got hurt. It was a freak accident. And for him to go out, that nobody's rooting for that. And for somebody to just kind of rub it in his face, that's terrible. And I definitely think a ban should be in following, considering
there was
Knicks fan that spit on Trae Young is gone, and the Jazz heckling whoever they were heckling, those fans are gone.
Jaw's parents,
they're harassing Jaw's parents. So you guys, I wanted to hit all 3 of those. You named all 3 of them, so I don't want to say it was a perfect storm for us getting angry because it shouldn't happen regardless. But they're losing, and he's injured. and you're
that's not called for.
like he's already
Absolutely
like
not called
upset, and he's leaving the game, and now he gets popcorn. It took 6 dudes. It was like one on each muscle mass, like the forearms,
And he was hurt.
the
Like he
biceps.
just.
I shout out
upset.
the guys, the Philly fans that pointed immediately at the guy who
It was
did
a circle.
Like,
It was a. They all
"Hey,
pointed
that
to
guy?"
him. It was in front. They turned around and point. It was a circle. They found him like that lickety split.
Uncalled for, absolutely.
One
No
thing that I
place in the game for
do
it.
want to note, because I mean, unless you guys have anything to add for Washington or Philly, I have Washington getting a game at home, but it could be a sweep. It's probably the worst series.
Oh
It's
my
probably the worst
gosh,
series.
dude.
If Russ doesn't come back, I mean, even if he's I don't see him getting one game.
Simmons.
It's probably the worst series. So we'll just get to the fan stuff right now.
Yeah.
I mean, spider. All right.
Can we just acknowledge that the Washington Wizards defense is so bad that Ben Simmons looks like an offensive talent?
I don't want to
6'2" Raul Neto.
So
6'2".
sad. It's so sad.
But yeah, one thing about all this fan stuff. So at least for the Philly arena, I don't know what Wells Fargo, I believe it is. They're in charge of instituting like punishment. It's not the Sixers actually, and they instituted that he's banned indefinitely. I don't know how it is for MSG with Trae getting spit on. It didn't look like it hit him.
The Knicks fan got suspended indefinitely also.
Suspended indefinitely, and then the Utah thing. I don't want to focus on that one, but it's like it happens like once a year. Like these Utah fans just fit the stereotype of just being. Yeah, a little,
Fun fact that this made Woj. Sorry, George. I was on Twitter. A lot this morning. It was epic win for the Utah government because the Utah judge threw away a lawsuit that he was given by 2 fans that claimed that Russell Westbrook caused them emotional distress. They were 2 banned fans because they called Russ racial slurs in the middle of a playoff game in 2018. And
the Thunder series.
they just sued Westbrook because they have a lifetime ban from the arena for emotional distress. And I'm not even kidding. Woj says that the Utah judge literally just threw it away. He threw all the paperwork away. Epic win, I think.
W.
A bunch of lames. Russell Westbrook cooked my team. I had to call him a racial slur.
Russell Westbrook got 45 shots. I have to bring him down even more. Like, come on.
I'll add in. I guess I'll try to wrap it up here. I mean, yeah, it's been great getting all these fans back. As we're kind of turning a corner on this whole pandemic thing, and
you are in Texas, so
we're living here. But no, I mean, it's been great to see the environments. Even with like MSG chanting, at Trae Young and stuff, it's nice to see like these rivalries, these villains, but I mean, that's just going way too far. Like dumping popcorn on the guy after he gets hurt. I mean, yeah, that's way too. And then heckling someone's family. I mean, you could trash talk a little bit, but it was like demeaning stuff.
That one, I'm pretty. I don't know the extreme details of this.
I'll try and look it up.
I know for a good amount of time, like for 3-4 years. Every time LeBron played in TD Garden, fools were making fun of his mom. Like, he just stopped showing up to games because of how bad it got.
Well, I'll say this. Any words besides racial slurs are okay as far as chants. But as soon as it gets, like, popcorn thrown, and then, like, the worst, obviously, was, like, they were throwing, like, batteries at LeBron in Cleveland. Like, that was some screwed up stuff. But I think, like, any words that isn't, like, racially charged, the Trae is balding. If Trae actually gets upset about that, he's just weak. Give him a minimum contract.
That's your villain, the guy that gets upset about his receding.
Yeah. So I mean,
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this 3 times now. Is there gonna be like, I know it's kind of just like a little inflated just because everybody's returning to watching the game. Is there any chance that the NBA starts to restrict the amount of people that come in? Because
absolutely not.
Oh, they ruined it for everybody.
Not a chance. I'm sorry. Adam Silver sees the green, and that's all he needs. He sees the green.
Well, it happened. Shout out to No Dunks. I listen to every. So, what's his name? Lee Ellis, big soccer fan. One soccer fan was throwing batteries in like the mid 2000s at a player. Banned the whole arena. No fans for the rest of the year. It was one person ruined it for everyone. I don't see Adam Silver doing it, but doing it for like this year, especially because like that money.
They need to recover.
But I mean, just to wrap this up, I do want to bring it just because every time there's a fantasy, I want to bring it up. I think we're nearing the 2-year anniversary of Isaiah Thomas going into the stands at Philly and confronting that guy. And then in the post-game interview, they asked what happened. And the guy, and he's like, he was yelling mean things at me. And then I asked why, and he said, I just wanted a Frosty. Philly's still doing that. If a player misses 2 free throws in a row in the fourth quarter, free Frosties for the entire arena. That's pretty gas. Shout out Joey.
W's.
But
Electric.
It's electric.
W's.
Yeah. Do you guys agree with me? Just to wrap this up for sure. Utah was the worst incident, or do you think Russ was? Because I didn't hear what Utah was saying, but it's Utah, and it scares me.
I think Russ was only because he was already injured, and you're dumping food on him when he's walking out.
It's like you're throwing peanuts at the elephant that just fell off the ball at a circus. You're just like harassed. Like it was just not.
Yeah. Word. Moving on.
Good stuff, Josh.
Just to wrap this up here, because we have a big weekend episode ahead of us, so we're going to spare our listeners an extra 10 minutes of nonsense, because next episode is going to be. And George's fan is being pretty loud, so I don't know how much they want to listen to this. I want to get some of you guys' best overachievers so far in the playoffs. I'll start with George.
I'm gonna go with Denver here because they got to win on the road.
Whole team.
Portland.
The whole squad, huh?
The whole Denver.
Oh,
team.
you meant like a player.
Oh, you could go. I didn't specify, so that's on me.
I would say Denver. I mean. With the circumstances they've had, they went into Portland and got a win. They took back home court, I guess you could say, because they got kind of punched in the mouth game 1, and they've won 2 straight. So I'll especially with all their injuries and circumstance, I'll go with them. I'm sorry I didn't name a player.
You're chilling, Josh.
My big overachiever. I don't want to take yours, but I'm gonna say DeAndre Ayton because I was kind of scared of how he would handle the big man situation and Anthony Davis, especially everybody hyping him up to be the guy that's gonna beat them. He is, but Ayton isn't any slouch either, and I was afraid because it was his debut against Los Angeles Lakers, pretty intimidating. And he's the only Phoenix Sun that hasn't faltered yet, so I think that's a pretty big sign for Phoenix.
Ayton's big year came hand in hand with Chris Paul coming to the team, and everyone called that with the brain. They're like, "My God, the center guy with raw talent, he's going to work." Chris Paul hasn't played a lot this series. Ayton's still playing great, and again, the stamina is really impressing me. He's playing above 40 minutes every single game, guarding Anthony Davis and battling with the big penguin.
It's a cinder block.
Yeah, I got a few here. The obvious one, campaign. He's playing great for them. He's really picked up the slack with Chris Paul kind of battling injuries there. Dylan Brooks, a lot of hardcore fans knew him, but even I guess I'm a bit of a casual. I didn't know he was so good on defense. I thought he was great on offense. He had a punchable face, but he's crazy on defense, and that came in the bubble. And then one personal one for me, I was on record saying Mavs are better without Porzingis, and he showed up in these 2 games. So he's an overachiever in my book. I think a lot of people still have him as household name, Porzingis being great, but he was kind of playing pretty bad there for this regular season. He's impressed me. Moving on to biggest, I guess, underperformer, biggest bust so far. Ooh, pause. Of the playoffs so far. We'll go Josh.
All right. I'm not gonna say Russ because I expected it. So I have a few. I think George is probably gonna go the Heat. I
was gonna go a player this time, but
oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll go to some of the specifics. I think RJ Barrett's kind of disappointed me. Half of it is just because he's not taking advantage of the minutes Tibbs is giving him, and they're just going to keep decreasing if he doesn't pick it up. He's doing everything but put the ball in the basket, which is what I was concerned about, that he wouldn't be able to. Sometimes he just doesn't take shots where he's open, and sometimes he plays hero ball. It's kind of disappointing. It's that's what you expect from a player's couple first playoff games. Hopefully he picks it up. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Tyler Hero, I thought we would see a little bit of, sorry George, but I thought that we would see a little bit more of the Tyler Hero pizzazz.
Why is that? Because my haircut looks like him?
I'm not going to say why. You know why. But
we're a bunch of white boys that took pride in Tyler Hero last year.
Oh, because the photo I took earlier with the Heat hat.
I thought he would be a bigger X factor for them because, of what he did last year. And I guess to wrap it up, I'm just going to say the Boston Celtics because they don't. It's like they've given up, except Robert Williams.
I don't blame.
Playing the
I don't
We
blame
don't blame him, but it's still kind of disappointing. I want to see some Boston Magic, and we might, but right now it's not looking like it.
George, give me a player.
So another Heat player, Jimmy. I think we all saw this coming. His splits are 25, 22, and 64. That's absolutely horrendous. He's a minus 68 in the series. And to put the cherry on top, yes, of course. And to put the cherry on top, before the series, he said, "I'm stupidly locked in," and then decided to put out the worst stat line I've ever seen. So that one by far. Another one, Randall. I didn't think he'd struggle this much, especially he had like an All NBA caliber year. I do think he's going to bounce back though, but by far, it's probably been Jimmy.
Yeah, I'd probably take Randall as underperformer over Barrett, I would say. But
I would go, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Jimmy Butler.
I've seen Julius Randle shoot under 50% for most of the year, so it's like it's nothing crazy. I think
as George would put it, Jimmy Butler, I guess, is mentally regressed, locked in because he used a fancy word for stupid earlier in the pod.
I didn't want to say it like that, but
stupid.
Cooked.
John Collins for me. We mentioned it. 12 points total in the series. And once they get Cam Reddish back, this dude looks like the perfect sign and trade opportunity to get the hell off our squad. If you want 80 mil over 4 years, we're not paying you that. But I mean, he hasn't played bad defense on Randall, but it's mostly their other guys. Kuzma, he didn't do anything the first 2 games. Then this game, all I gotta say, he's got the hustle points, but 1 for 11. Dude can't find a shot. But
no,
I mean,
George, your guy.
Yeah, your guy, George. And then
he's been impacting the game in other ways than
Davis
scoring.
Bertans. Davis Bertans. No need to explain. All right, let's get a quick preview in here. And by quick, I mean might be a little long because we got a whole weekend to cover. We'll try and breeze through these.
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Who wins? Knicks Hawks on Friday. ESPN. George.
Give me the Hawks.
Kaka. Josh. Who wins?
I agree.
Hawks.
Ooh.
I got Knicks. I see a big Julius Randle mess. But this game, it goes back tied 2-2, no matter what. We agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Nets, Celtics, 5:30. It's 2-0 right now. All right, is Celtics getting a game here, Josh?
Yeah, Sunday, everyone's going to be making fun of me because Marcus Smart put James Harden in a jail cell. I'm going to take Boston for game 3.
Okay, George.
I mean, TD Garden's going to be saying some stuff to Kyrie, whether it's appropriate or not.
Earth is round. He's going to lose his head. He's going to lose his mind.
I'm going to go Nets here, though. I just think the talent gap is way too much.
Yeah, I got Nets sleeping, so I got to go. One thing funny, big Danny Ainge guy, Josh, he's like, we've never had any racist remarks in 26 years. They talked to Marcus Smart. They were like, well, he's like, yeah, I've heard it. Him, a Celtics player. He's hurt. Oh, my gosh. But that's Danny Ainge for you. Almost Ainge. Game of the night probably would be all 3 of our look ahead. Do or die for Clippers. They play the Mavs in Dallas. The Cuban Arena. It's going to be bumping. This could be the chance of the Mavericks to really put them away for good. George.
Clippers. They're actually favored in this, which is kind of funny. But yeah,
too.
backs against the wall. I'm gonna go with them, even though like everything says to go with Dallas, just because packed arena. Guys are gonna be hyped. Shooters might be on fire, but I'm gonna go Clippers here.
Josh.
This game's closer than game 4, but I have Clippers taking both game 3 and 4.
Ooh,
I have Mavs getting game 3. If they play again on the Sunday schedule, I haven't looked on it. I'll have to figure out if I have them sweeping or not. But they take game 3, I think. Moving on to Saturday. Milwaukee and the Heat. Is it a sweep, Josh?
No. Vice City's going to go crazy. I'm going to take Miami.
Vice City, all right. George.
Get the brooms out, baby.
No.
I got to take Miami because this would be probably my best take on the pod so far. Milwaukee in 5. So I have Miami getting their game here.
How different this series would be if Miami won that first game.
No, it wouldn't be too different. Moving on. Nuggets Blazers, TNT. 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. George.
Give me Portland here. I think, their backs are against the wall, like I said. I think they're going to come out firing, and I expect CJ to bounce back as well.
I have Portland too. Josh. Dame
So
time?
when George wakes up in the beginning of the second half, he's going to see his prediction being right. I also have Portland.
Well, he's got to wake up
early on Saturday.
You got to get up early on Saturday? So maybe he'll be watching on his little smartphone. Who knows? Sixers Wiz, ESPN, 4 o'clock on a Saturday. Josh.
This is bad, Philly. This is if Russell Westbrook in Philly.
Sixers by double digits.
This is horrible.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I got the Sixers too. Wizards get game 4. They get game 4. Book
I
it.
don't know about
Absolutely
that.
book it.
Sure.
Oh yeah, George. Yeah, you're always
Is that
right.
a Chuck guarantee?
Yeah, I don't make Chuck guarantees. I make the correct picks. Last game of Saturday, Jazz Grizzlies. It's gonna be in the Grizzlies arena, but 15,000 JJ Butters over there. Josh, who's taking this one?
Give me the grit and grind Grizzlies, baby. Up 2-1. JJ Butters, man. It's gonna be a hype day.
I got the Jazz. George, break the tie.
I'm gonna go Grizzlies. I think
Yes, sir.
that crowd, that crowd's gonna be en
Gobert's
fuego.
gonna get slandered. I'm ready.
I didn't get to mention it. I forgot how cool the Jazz stadium looks when they got fans in the playoffs. I like that yellow in the crowd. It looks really cool with those T-shirts. It just takes me back to that Thunder series where I won $35 off Ronald Sandoval. So on Sunday, starts off again. My favorite series, Knicks Hawks. It's ABC on a Sunday, which means we got JVG, Mark Jackson, and Mike Breen. So everyone, make sure to mute your TVs. George.
I got Knicks evening this series up. I have this as a 7-game series, so I kind of need to be consistent here. And tied up going back to MSG.
Josh.
I think we all have it tied up, so I
have it
will
tied
take
up.
the Knicks in this one.
Okay.
So would you be surprised if it goes 3-1? Either of you?
I would be a little bit surprised.
Either
No,
way, you'd be
actually,
surprised?
I would not. If it went up 3-1 in New York's favor, I would be. But if Atlanta went up 3-1, I would not be surprised. In this
I didn't think about that. Both teams could go up 3-1. I thought he meant just like Atlanta. Whoops.
No. George, I bet you're excited. LeMickey gets 2 extra days of rest. Phoenix
yes,
Lakers, 12:30 follows. That's a good ABC slate. Phoenix Lakers. I'll start with you, George. Who wins?
Yeah, give me the Lakers here. I kind of said this last game that I'd be expecting a bounce back from like KCP and the shooters. I'm gonna say it again because I gotta be hopeful.
Speak it into existence, Josh.
Bounce back game from the shooters.
I think Kyle Kuzma plays worse, but the Lemickis are going to take it.
How can you
Worse
get
than
worse than
1
2
for
for
11?
12?
It's
1
0
for
for
11.
15, and he's bringing the blonde hair back.
Turnovers.
All
No
right.
defense.
So we all have 3-1 going
Yes.
going back to Phoenix. All right. Nets Celtics. I think we all have, or me and George have a sweep here, and then Josh, who you got? Because you have Celtics winning Game 3, right?
Yeah.
No, do not say
There's
it's
no
tied.
way they win 2 games, man.
No,
I want it to
no,
happen so
no.
bad, but there's
Get outta
no
here.
way they do it.
Get outta
Brooklyn's
here.
going to take this one. Harden's
So-
going to bounce back, so I don't get slandered as hard.
So me and George have the topic of Sunday's pod being, was it a successful season for the Celtics? And you have it being, can the Celtics come back from 3-1? Find out next on a Jason Tatum 50 burger. Last game of
We
the
can't
weekend.
say that. Jake hates it when we say 50 burger. 50
Last-
burger.
Fitty
Last
burger,
game
fitty
of the
burger, fitty
weekend.
burger.
It could end the Clippers season if Mavs take both of these. I have it being a gentleman's at this point. I have Mavs in 5, so I have Clippers getting this one. I may change my opinion if the Mavericks blow them out of the
Front run.
water on Friday. But George, who you got here?
Yeah, I definitely expect Dallas to get 1 at home, so I'm gonna have it being a 3-1. Maybe the Clippers pull a reverse bubble and they come back from a 3-1 deficit.
Ooh, Josh.
Again, I think this one the Clippers handle better than they do Game 3, and I think this series goes back to LA tied 2-2. That's what my prediction was after Game 1, and I think I'm going to stick with it.
Well, as much as I want to be right about my Clippers in 6, I don't see it happening. I simply don't. The team up 2-0 is 73% of the time the winner of the series. I don't see Clippers rewriting history in any sort of the way. Yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend though. A lot of games to cover. I think I counted 9 games we're covering on
Yeah, it's
Monday's
going to be
show.
a long one.
So
I hope you don't have anything planned for Monday morning, George.
we'll still be in Texas Sunday night when we record. But the last game ends at 9, so look at George. Let's get this pod under a minute. Let me send us home. I'm gonna call it here. That's the new for
Under a
tonight's
minute?
episode. Thanks for watching or listening. And if you like, make sure to follow us at THHoopers, Instagram and Twitter. Never dropped it, but Frankie, if you comment, what should he comment, George?
Lakers in 5.
He'll just say that. No. If you tell us who the favorite player was for the podcast,
There you
Ronnie
go.
Brewer,
There you go.
if you comment that, you're on the pod. You won't, but oh god, we got 30 seconds left. Okay. Insta, Twitter, George never collect without his phone. Although he's in Texas now, so who knows really. Everyone make sure to tell George he looks better with his
Check out his
haircut because
Whataburger
he
review,
did
guys.
cry after he got it. Thanks for being an OG, everyone. Sorry about George's fan in the background, but we're glad to have him with us. Thank you, George, and take